What's going on, everybody? Seth Miranda.
I'm Dave Brusca.
This is Adorama Rewind.
So let's get to the first story.
Yeah, so full version of Photoshop for iPad. We talked about this before.
Yeah, this is, Adobe is actually giving you a full version. It's going to have all the features of the desktop Photoshop, and it's going to be on the iPad.
Well, not all at once, right?
Not all at once. So they actually said that it's going to be released next year, like early next year.
Which is really soon, by the way. People hear that and they don't get it.
But you know, it's
2 months away.
Yeah. It's like this is middle of October right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be released early next year. And what they said is they're just giving you the core features right now because they want to just get it out there. They want people to get their hands on it, use it, and then as the year progresses, they'll start putting in all the rest of the features that the desktop
It's basically like every video game now where you keep on buying the rest of the game and DLC.
Yeah, except this is just through your regular subscriptions.
Yeah, it's like Street Fighter V. They put out like 5 characters and then slowly they gave you more and more downloads. It's like, what are you doing? But no, it's pretty cool. It's very exciting and shows you that iPads are actually at the power of a PC now to run these programs. Now, like you were saying, the software developers have to engage.
Yeah, it's all about right now. The hardware is there. It just comes down to the software developers, and it comes down to people actually asking for it. And I think Adobe is starting to see that, and they've been seeing that for a year or two. Interestingly enough, so this is part of like a much larger release from Adobe, and in it there was new versions of Photoshop and Lightroom and Premiere, which all have their own new features that they've added. But one of the new things that they've added, a new app, as you will, is Premiere Rush. Yeah,
so this is pretty cool.
Yeah, so this basically is giving you the functionality of, or some of the functionality of Premiere. But the real kick behind this is that it's cross-platform. And this is part of your regular subscription. So if you have Premiere, then you'll be able to just use Premiere Rush. And you can... Essentially, you can start your timeline on your phone or tablet or any other computer, and you're getting your basic editing down. You're getting your rushes, which is kind of where the name is coming from.
You can keep your project going with you wherever you are, which is basically getting you more workflow no matter what.
Yeah. So it's like quick little edits, and to get you're mostly set there the core of what your video is going to be. And then you just transfer it over to Premiere Pro, and you do your final tweaks and your final color grading and stabilizing or whatever.
But this is across all platforms, right? So and by platform I mean you can throw it. You start your desktop, you throw it to your iPad, then you're like running to a meeting, but you have 5 minutes. Cool, I can bring it up on my phone and start playing with it on my phone, shredding through it there. And then when you really want to tighten it up, go back to your Mac. There's no like needing to take a break because you had to live your life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's always with you.
Now the only caveat to this right now is that it's kind of one way, so you can't go from Premiere Pro to Rush. So you have to start your project in Rush.
That's interesting.
And then you end in Premiere Pro.
Well, we'll see where it goes. Yeah. New products are always cool. A lot of exciting things. Yep. But things you can do with older products, right? So Kodak has introduced a way to digitize all your analogs. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, so they've got this digitizing box system, which is actually, in a way, it's like this kind of shipment and delivery service that they're going to be giving.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because back in the day, you would drop a roll of film and they would send it to Kodak and you get prints back. Now we're taking our prints and our negatives, our audio, our tapes, VHS, all these things that are anything that's not digital, chuck it in this box, send it to them, comes back as digital files ready for today's use.
Yeah, they'll give it to you in USB or a web download or CDs, and it's pretty much any analog medium they'll take. And the boxes, as long as it fits in the boxes and it's of the number of
if it fits
quantity,
the chips.
Yeah, it's like if it fits the chips, but in the number of quantities that box is, like it's 3, 5, 10 pieces.
Okay.
So there's some limitations there.
But it's pretty cool. I mean, how many times have you heard relatives go, if I could just get these VHSC tapes on a CD, like what are you talking about? It's just pretty cool that Kodak is actually morphing with the times and creating a service that could actually really be viable right now. There's a lot of analog media out there. We've had decades of it. Yeah. The VHS tape was around for way too long, in my opinion. So So it's pretty cool that they're adapting.
But you have to love the movie stores, like
I do
movie rental places.
I actually miss going through Blockbuster. Like you didn't know what you were gonna rent. Now Netflix, you're doing more surfing than actually watching. At a Blockbuster, you'd run into your friend, be like, "Hey, what are you gonna watch?" You look at the case, you read it.
So speaking of, speaking of analog stuff, so somebody made this kind of adaptation of a Fujifilm Instax camera onto the back of a Hasselblad 500.
This is so baller.
This is actually the Hasselblad that I have, and so I have to try something like this because this is...
Yeah, I got that one too.
This is so cool. Like, it's small crafts, and they kind of show you, at least in this article, they show you kind of how they did it, and there is quite a lot involved in this, but it's just cool to see people thinking outside of what they've been given. No, like what they've been given, right? Like,
wow, there's so much in this article.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty in-depth one.
You guys can go check that out. But it's just awesome to see that there's a product that's out now, which is the Instax, being put into cameras that are out there for a long time.
Yeah.
The Hasselblad series, the 500 series. I mean, what's cool in that? You're shooting. You're using Hasselblad lenses, Hasselblad format, and you're putting it out to a film medium that's available right now. And it's just super fun, right? Like it's something that if you're not using your Hasselblad so much anymore, maybe you could do this to your camera, and then next time you're in the studio, you start shooting with it and give the prints out along with the job itself.
Yeah. I kind of want to see this happen with the Polaroid One Step Plus. I think that would be really cool.
Okay, so Daniel Norns is doing some really interesting stuff with the new Polaroid stuff. And once he sees this episode, I'm going to get a call. Watch this. It's going to happen. Like, yo, wait, I can't bring your Hasselblad to the studio right now. I'm going to do this. But while we're on the camera kick, Sony has just introduced this little guy.
Yeah, the HX99. 28 times optical zoom, does 4K video with no pixel binding, and it's kind of, so it's full sensor readout, 4K, has 120 frames per second slow motion in 1080.
Look at that lens.
Yeah.
So it's kind of doing an interesting thing with the zoom, right? So we just saw the 100X Mark VI or whatever, and that has the huge zoom, but this, since it's a smaller sensor, allows for the crop factor to act as a zoom. So you're kind of getting a smaller body, stretchier lens. You know?
Yeah. No,
and you get the flip screen.
Well, this is also a thing, like Sony is saying that of the long zoom lenses that go beyond 700 millimeters, right? So this
is 720.
Large, yeah, so this large of a zoom range, it's the smallest camera of this type is what they're saying. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. It's cool to see smaller technology and being able to take something like a 720 millimeter equivalent and just put it in your pocket.
I mean, think about it this way. You're going to a concert. You don't want to carry a full rig. You're just there to enjoy it. You're not there to really cover it because it's not really a job for you. You pull this out and you're still getting shots that you want, you know, and not having to worry about a gear bag or not being part of an event. Or maybe you're just traveling and you just need a sidearm. I mean, you know, it's...
And it's cool that it's got the built-in viewfinder and everything. Like that's something.
The flip-back screen.
The flip-back screen. Those are things that usually cameras with a higher price point have. So.
Yeah, I think we're in such a good time, man, for technology. But speaking of what times we're in, this is a new trailer that just popped out on Adorama TV. This is the Roundtable. So from the guys who brought you TTL comes the Photographers Roundtable.
Yeah, this is very interesting. You've got a lot of people in on this. The first episode is coming out. Is coming out on the 18th. So look forward to seeing that. And I mean, I'm super excited. This was a big production.
Yeah, it's super beautiful. First of all, it's beautiful to look at. We were there on set for it. The insight that all these photographers have from being just these really heavy hitters in the industry was really amazing to listen into. And it's not just like it's not scripted. It's a casual conversation, and it just goes wherever their mindsets are. So it really gives you that not just BTS, but people that probably wouldn't be in the same room at one time talking about this game. Yeah,
and they talk about the past and the present and their predictions in the future of like the way that photography is going to go. And so this first episode is the focus, you can kind of see of the people involved. The focus is a little bit more on landscape, cityscape, and stuff like that, like photographers that do a lot more of that style of photography. But there are going to be future episodes of this, and they're going to have their own theme, much like this did.
Yeah, so. This is a series, so we're pretty excited about it. We think that it's going to really have a lot of engagement with you guys, because it's a discussion, and it's really getting into past the point of tutorial, past the point of how do we do it, technique, right. About gear. It's not about that. It's more about what it takes for them to do the job, where the industry is taking them themselves, where they've come from. It's kind of like this meeting point, which is kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, it's just cool to see. It's always cool to see photographers just talk, you know, just like talk to each other, not necessarily, you know, like you said, not necessarily just tutorial or about the gear, but just talking about their experiences in life and, you know, their careers, and it's always cool.
So speaking of experiences, tell us some of your experiences, all right? Do you have a lot of analog stuff you're going to ship over to Kodak? Because I actually might do this. This is pretty cool. What do you think about that Hasselblad camera? Would you have the ambition to rip apart some cameras, put them together, and Frankenstein something pretty cool? Adobe, is the Rush, is this something you're into? Does it seem like something that you've been waiting for or wanting, or something you could use?
Photoshop on an iPad?
Would you use Photoshop on an iPad?
Yeah.
A lot of people have concerns about the calibration of screen. Remember that?
Yeah, I think that was an issue that a lot of people were thinking. I think now with the latest iPads, where they're kind of auto-calibrating.
They're self-calibrating.
They're self-calibrating, and the image quality on the new screens is far beyond what most people's desktop monitors even are. So I think...
If you think that's wrong, tell Dave.
Yes.
Bring it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm looking forward to the day that they do Premiere, like a full Premiere on an iPad.
Yeah, you've been saying it would help your workflow out a lot.
Yeah.
Interesting. We're in great times, kids. So we will see you down in the comments. Hit like, share this. There's a bell somewhere over there. All right. We'll see you guys next time. You got anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, cool, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Later.
See you.